Even if we're all invited to a dinner with Barack Obama, you will remove your phone and check Instagram. You will never say everything is normal today, can't be a headline. But if the world is going to end 20 years later, that at least gets a polarizing opinion and that'll travel more, right? The problem with podcasts is I always feel nowadays is an agenda. Nobody asks the obvious questions because you're basically too scared to embarrass your guests.
Yeah, sanitized news channels.
And in the middle, what happened? We told Dhoni that like, hey, our driver, he's from Jharkhand, he's here. Just looks at him, he's like, hi. And I was like, that guy just froze. And then Dhoni legit spoke to this guy for I think 20 minutes.
What are you saying?
Then he said like, next time whenever I'm here, will you drive me around? He's like, he's like, yeah, obviously.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Second Last Supper. So अगर आप यहाँ पे नए हैं so पहले तो जल्दी से इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लो. ये चलचित्र टॉक्स का ही एक चैनल है और अगर आपको लग रहा है यार मैंने चलचित्र टॉक्स भी सब्सक्राइब किया हुआ है, अब बोल रहा है ये कि इस चैनल को भी सब्सक्राइब करूँ. Why do I subscribe to two different channels? I'll tell you why. चलचित्र टॉक्स पे जो आप लॉन्ग फॉर्म एपिसोड्स देखते हो दे आर वेरी मच अबाउट रिकमेंडेशंस. वहाँ पे मैं ज़्यादा इधर उधर नहीं जाता हूँ. हम रिकमेंडेशंस में डीप डाइव ज़रूर करते हैं. But I always wanted the format of that channel to be recommendations and that is what we are doing there. वहाँ पे हम लाइफ स्टोरीज़ की बातें नहीं कर पाते, वहाँ पे हम डाइवर्स प्रोफेशन के लोगों को नहीं ला पाते. तो इन्हीं चीज़ों को सॉल्व करने के लिए आई हैड स्टार्टेड सेकंड लास्ट सपर. एंड सेकंड लास्ट सपर में मैंने पास्ट में कोविड के टाइम पे बहुत सारे एपिसोड्स बनाए थे और उसके बाद भी मैंने मेरी रिदम ढूंढने का बहुत कोशिश की. बट अब फाइनली द रिदम इज हियर एंड यू आर गोइंग टू सी अ लॉट मोर एपिसोड्स ऑन सेकंड लास्ट सपर. यहाँ पे बिजनेस की बातें होंगी, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की बातें होंगी, लाइफ स्टोरीज़ की बातें होंगी, रिकमेंडेशंस भी होंगी. बट there will be so much more than recommendations here. So do subscribe to the channel. And now let's talk about the guest episode of today. आज के जो हमारे गेस्ट हैं उनका नाम है देवैया बोपन्ना. देवैया ने अभी रिसेंटली एक पार्टी में बोला था कि मैं वैभव को अपना हाइप मैन बना सकता हूँ बिकॉज ऑफ हाउ मच ही praises me and rightly so. I have been a big fan of this guy. अगर आप सबसे पहले तो ना देवैया को इंस्टाग्राम या ट्विटर पे फॉलो नहीं करते तो यू आर मिसिंग आउट. यू नीड टू सी the philosophies that he showcases in his Instagram carousel posts. 2019-20 से इनको फॉलो कर रहा हूँ, तब मैं जानता भी नहीं था और मैं कहा भाई ये 10 स्लाइड में कितनी ज़्यादा डीप बात बोल गया. देन उसके बाद हमारी बात होना चालू हुई एंड आई वॉज ऑलवेज फैसिनेटेड बाय देवैया. ही वॉज द हेड राइटर ऑफ AIB. ही वर्क्स वेरी क्लोजली विद तन्मय भट्ट. एड वर्ल्ड में ये बहुत ज़्यादा मचा रहे हैं. क्रेड की जो आपने पूरी कैंपेन देखी है ना IPL के दौरान, ही इज़ वन ऑफ द मेन गाइज बिहाइंड इट. उसके अलावा और भी बहुत सारे कैंपेन्स का पार्ट है ये. शार्क टैंक इंडिया की भी जो एक कैंपेन आई थी, देवैया वॉज लाइक वेरी वेरी क्लोजली इन्वॉल्व इन इट. बहुत सारी अलग अलग चीज़ें करती हैं. प्रोड्यूसर है, ये राइटर है एंड ही इज ऑल्सो एन एंटरप्रेन्योर. सो मेरे को था कि यार मेरे को देवैया के साथ ही एपिसोड करना है जब मैं सेकंड लास्ट सपर पे वापस से आऊँ. मैं कभी गया नहीं था बट लाइक अगेन लाइक आई एम सेइंग इट टू माई सेल्फ सो दैट दिस टाइम आई एम वेरी वेरी कंसिस्टेंट ऑन दिस चैनल. सो आपको बहुत मज़ा आने वाला है. आप मेरा ये रूप शायद चलचित्र पे भी नहीं देखते क्योंकि हमने काफ़ी एक्सट्रीम्स में जाके बातें की है and you are going to have a lot of fun. So yes, let's jump right inside the conversation I had with Devaiah Bopanna on Second Last Supper. Let's also play the intro this time, जो हमारा OG intro था Second Last Supper का. 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome Devaiah. Welcome to Second Last Supper.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing?
Good. Like, I think this has been like, if we leaked our WhatsApp chats, that could have been a podcast in itself.
Yes.
So I'm glad to be doing this.
All the talks we did in Dubai.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. So glad we could do this, man.
Yeah, I have been very much interested in your thoughts and philosophies ever since you wrote about TikTok many years back. And I told you na ki we were somewhat big on TikTok. We had like 300-400k followers there. And everyone was shitting on TikTok ki when it got banned and they were like happy. Right? And then I did a live that time from my personal handle. Like, and it was a very heartfelt life कि there's a shitty that like you are shitting on something. कल को Instagram बंद होगा तब तुम्हें समझ आएगा. And you had written a post on the same lines.
Yeah.
and I had like shared it also, and like I am very sure आपकी एक पोस्ट मेरी वजह से वायरल हुई है. I must have told you also.
Possibly, yeah.
Initially मेरे को याद है कि ये तो मैंने इतनी राइट जगहों में मचाई है ना.
Good LIC agent for my post.
Yeah. So the one on TikTok got me very fascinated by your thoughts. Then I recently shared with you a Facebook memory.
Correct.
Which one was
about
that?
rain hosting.
Oh yes, वो भी मेरे को scam लगा था.
Yeah,
Like you got that. And so in general, like these things have fascinated me a lot. But I want to start with something you talked about, like in a recent post about celebrity managers. याद है आपको?
Yeah.
Like when a manager has a bigger, what syndrome name did you give?
It's a manager syndrome. When celebrities manager has a bigger ego than the celebrity they're managing themselves.
अगर मैं बॉम्बे की जितनी प्रॉब्लम्स बताऊं, पॉटहोल्स है, बारिश है, for me it's this. Then everything else.
100%.
How come you have faced this? Like, tell me about it.
I mean, see, generally, I've been in this creator economy / influencer business from 2015. So I've seen like many waves pass by, right? Like from 2015, we are in 2023. That's close to 8 years in this business, where you've seen different levels of fame people get, and then people getting washed away, and then like unable to cope with this kind of change in status suddenly, right? People don't realize these days, okay, that they are not famous for actually the love of the people. They are famous because the algorithm is favoring them. Okay, this is two widely different things, but completely misunderstood by people who are getting famous. Right? Like, for example, during the Facebook time, right? When Facebook was like, we talk about it like it's like some 20 years ago, but Facebook was big in 2019, right? Like it's 2019 is when the migration happened. And from 2015, 2014 to 2019, there were massive Facebook pages, right? Like huge, like, with like whatever 4-5 million followers back then, and netting about 10 million views and everything. So a lot of people got famous on the Facebook wave, and the only thing that they didn't do is probably move to Instagram at the right time. So these were legit famous creators and famous people, and 3-4 years of building content and building a sizable following. And then suddenly, when the migration happened to Instagram, they did not do it. Either it was out of ego because they were like, no, nothing can shake me. And then suddenly when the migration happened and they were 8 months too late, they lost their whole audience, right? So yeah, man, fame is like, that's the greatest example of like, it's not the love of the people that is making you famous these days. It's the love of the algorithm. So if you don't look and listen carefully, and when you mistake that, you become like, you have an ego, and then you have managers, and then you have like,
But let's talk about this manager part particularly. Like, how did you, because it's a very accurate analysis. Any experience you might have had, like where you noticed ki this is actually a problem, where you particularly noticed the ego of a manager?
I mean, literally every celebrity shoot is, I mean, obviously they are like they are nicer people and everything, but I think some celebrity shoots, you find that as a big problem, right? And when you just deeply look at it, it's just that there's so much anxiety that gets created, and then you realize you meet the celebrity, they're actually sweet people, they're actually the nicest people, and then you sort of chill with them after a while, or even if you get to know them at a personal level later, you're like, hey man, this is so not the emails I was reading about you, or like, the stress saying that, hey, can't wait, can't do this, that can't happen, this can't happen. And I know that the business is placed in a way where the manager needs to be the bad cop.
Sure.
But we've all been in the business long enough to know when you're not playing the bad cop, but you have embodied yourself and your ego to this extent where you just start believing that you can also throw tantrums.
Have you seen Air?
Yeah, I've seen the movie Air.
Remember the manager of Michael Jordan in that? Like,
exactly. The guy in New York, right? Yeah. Correct.
So, like, I also talk about it a lot on channel. Like, जो उसमें the character of Matt Damon, what he does in it, he direct parents के पास चला गया. That is how we run things on Chalchitra. As much as you can bypass it, do it.
Yeah.
Because it always creates a problem. Because ये मैंने भी notice किया है. They are like the celebrity if like if you get their guards down, they are the nicest people to talk to. If they are truly artists, right? They really want to understand how things are working. They are really into that. But like you said, we understand you need to be the bad cop, but like इतना ज़्यादा तो embody मत करो ना कि फिर
Correct.
हमें ऐसे bypass करना पड़े.
You get to know that you're not playing the bad cop after a point. You just love, you're having a power trip.
Yes,
You know, there's
it's a power trip.
it becomes a power trip and not so much of a bad cop business. And I think power trips largely exist because you don't have any inherent talent of your own which you can impose upon other people and get your job done.
But what if they think their power is communication and like negotiation?
100%. If you break them down and you speak to them, and if they have a introspection, it is not that. So that is the manifestation of that frustration of not being the talent themselves. Comes from this, has to be like, they have to feel good because, it's very difficult being a celebrity manager because most often celebrities are talented. So you are with like someone who's so extraordinarily talented all the time, and you will subconsciously start comparing your talent with that person's talent. It's only natural, right? Like if you are in the presence of greatness on a daily basis, your yardstick becomes that person. So somewhere you also start feeling deeply frustrated, but you have been given this power to represent that personality. So you start mistaking these few things and you start getting into a power trip.
But like in India also, like managers and agents sometimes are like the roles are played by the same person.
Correct.
Hollywood mein like agent is different, manager is different. Yahan pe you do have agencies and you do have a personal manager, but sometimes one person is doing both the jobs, and I think उससे आपकी ego trip और ज़्यादा double हो रही है कि I run this shit, maybe I take my cut, but I am the person who has made him, like I've taken him to that level.
And no one's going to complain to the celebrity that their manager was bad, because that is a massive breach in, like you'll be risking a lot if you do that, because your life is only going to become tougher the next time around, right?
Why?
Because the manager is going to make sure he or she will make your life tougher.
हाँ, क्योंकि then they'll talk to them.
Yeah. So even the celebrities don't hear about their managers being assholes most of the times, I feel.
So ये तो हो गई पहली problem Bombay की. Now let's get to other
Floods.
What is that one thing which really angers you right now in general about what's happening in India, or any personal thing? It can be anything.
It's the same thing, man. Like confidence being mistaken for competency, that really hurts me in a lot of places. I've learned how to deal with it, but sometimes I still mistake confident people for being competent. And then the screw up happens, and then I shit on myself saying that, hey dude, like how many times are you keep going to falling for this shit despite knowing that it's a problem, right? So I think that really angers me. It really triggers me.
Is it the incompetence which is triggering you, or is it this?
That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I don't think आपको incompetence से इतनी दिक्कत है जितनी इस चीज से.
Yeah, if I know a person's stupid,
then it's okay.
it's fine. It's okay. That's natural.
But he's pretending to be like something की competence है because of the confidence.
Yeah. And then you fall for that shit, all right? And that really ticks you off.
How has it like affected you? Like I don't want to know a particular example. Like where have you fallen for this?
Essentially, the thing in the creative arts industry is there is no code in terms of there's no 0-1 outcomes, right? Like everything is subjective.
Right.
It's not like a coding, it's not like a developer, software developer, right? Like you build this product, build this program, show me the output, it's done. But here the work is so subjective, like results are so gray, right? And the business runs on trust, right? And then, so that is very important that you trust a person you're working with in general. And you kind of, this becomes the biggest issue when you're trusting a person that kind of like, has results. Like, okay, going back to your question as to when this has happened.
Yeah, where it must, where it might have like affected you personally.
A couple of years ago, I was producing, like I was more into producing things, right? Like producing long form or, trying things around that space. So you would meet like people, like, creative people who you have to trust and put your money and place your bets on. And that becomes a problem, right? Because you don't know them well, but they're putting on this front, and it's hard to sort of pierce through that. And you have to make these decisions whether to back them or not back them. And then much later you realize like, hey man, it's a wrong call.
In a way, it's a very good metaphor for Indian cricket team also.
In what?
Like the competent players never get the chance. It's just the most of them.
I mean, so I think what the problem with the Indian cricket team is it's a problem of plenty, right? Like there is a problem of plenty of cricket being played, plenty of formats being played, and plenty of tournaments being played. So someone who's good in the IPL may not be good in WTC.
How closely do you follow cricket?
Not much at all these days. I follow it as much as a brand is signing a celebrity cricketer. I just need to know what they're doing. But I've been a crazy cricket fan while growing up in the 90s. But off late, I think the last 5-6 years, it's. I just keep tab of the results to know what's happening. So that just to keep in check and to put an odd tweet out for the algorithm. But essentially, if like someone is being signed by a brand I'm working on, then I just go look up what has been happening. But not so much these days.
And like, from when have you been in the ad world? Like,
Oh, okay. So I got in 2008. Okay. 2008 to 2015, I was there, 7 years. And then not much was happening for me in advertising. And then 2015, like AIB was kind of expanding beyond the four of them, and they want to set up a writing team and all that. So I joined AIB in 2015. So then 18 and 19, AIB wound up, and then I got into long form non-fiction for a while. And then 2020, I got back into advertising. So after a 5-year break, I got back into advertising, 2020, yeah.
and how was your AIB wala pura period?
I mean, it was like, I always feel that is glad that I could have, like, it's glad I had a dream job at least for once in my lifetime. Nice. It was one of the best periods of my life, and in every way, man, like just learning, unlearning, trying to even think a certain way, trying to verbalize your thoughts, trying to be articulate, trying to be creative. Like it was like a bundling and unbundling of my brain, those 4 years.
Did you also direct at AIB?
Yeah, we used to all direct a lot of our sketches. Yeah. So because again, right, like I remember Tanmay used to always keep saying, we need to become and people, writer and director and producer and assistant director. That's the only way for organization to grow. That's the only way for people to grow. There is no way you can be like just a particular person in today's world. You can't just be a writer. You're not going to make it. So if you have to be a writer and a salesman and your representative, you have to be everything. So we had to direct because obviously there's no insane budgets putting into YouTube videos back then.
Which is the AIB video you are the proudest of? Ki, hey, like this is something.
There's one video we did called My Friend Reviser. That was a lot of fun. Basically, the analogy was that there is this guy. So the common insight during examination is like you never tell your friends that you've studied everything. You always have to downplay that, like, hey, I've not studied anything. But what if you walk in on your friend who's revising, which means they finished studying everything. And this whole parallel was for like, homosexuality and coming out in India. So we tackled that with this as an analogy of coming out as a reviser.
Oh, lovely stuff.
And this came out during when I think there was a lot of talk around Section 377 happening and a lot of debates around that time. So we packaged and thought the whole video in this way of reviser coming out and saying that, hey, it's normal to revise. It's okay. You don't have to be shy about being a reviser. Nice. And friends accepting you as a reviser. Obviously, there's one friend who's hurt that, how I never knew this about you and all that. And then him coming around saying that, yeah, it's okay. So what, you revise, like, it's fine.
And which is that one video of AIB that you might not have necessarily worked very closely like in, but like you just love?
Honest engineering placements. Yeah. I did not write it, but I just absolutely love it. I think it's got every scene is like just cracking, right? In terms of writing, in terms of insights, in terms of acting, in terms of performances, it's just brilliant.
I love the Honest Wedding one and the Flight one.
Yeah. Those are the OG videos.
OG videos, dude. During that time, like, which were some of your favorite TVF videos?
Oh, okay, interesting. TVF videos, I think a lot, man. They had done the Salman Khan one, the
TMO one.
Yeah, that was damn good. Then obviously like Rowdies was just like inspirational stuff. They were doing some killer sketch work. No, I mean now that whole genre is, I think, dead. It's like the algorithm doesn't support it.
True.
Because it needs a lot of emotional investment. That kind of viewing, that kind of writing. I don't want to like over intellectualize the shit, but generally like you need to buy into that world. It's not like one of those mindless scrolling when you're taking a shit kind of videos.
No,
right?
very true, very true.
So it was basically a medium where filmmakers who were not getting breaks in big, not getting big opportunities, filmmakers, writers, were just coming and trying their shit out here. So there was a lot of craft, in all of those videos, right? Back then, there was a lot of craft involved as nuance, writing, direction. Every department, it almost was like you're making small movies, right? So it was not switch on front camera and express yourself, which I have no problems with, which is like the evolution of content. But yeah, so that was a scene back then.
I don't know if you know, I used to intern at TVF during 2013 to 2015.
Okay.
Like, so I was doing my engineering, and every time a semester would end, I would come to TVF. So I've seen TVF grow from a team of 15 people to like pictures season was getting shot. So when my first day at their of internship was, I think, in 2013 or 14, and they were shooting this video where Biswapati Sarkar was playing Preetam. Which video was that? The Preetam one?
TMO2, honey said.
TMO2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And like I was like standing in that shop जहाँ पे वो प्रीतम के जैसे ना जैसे साड़ी बांटते हैं ना तो अपने गाने ऐसे दिखाते हैं अच्छा आपको क्या चाहिए अच्छा इसमें कुछ लेंगे अरे वो नीचे से फेंकना so I was a guy who was standing up जो ऊपर के शेल्फ से नीचे फेंक रहा है so I also get a credit in that like legs of Vaibhav Munjal cast and I also learned so much from like TVF dude during क्योंकि जैसे हमने क्राफ्ट वाली बात की they were so sharp at that ना कुछ जोक्स में इतनी नुआंस होती थी मैं कि यार ये कैसे सोच लिया यार it was just like extremely fun to watch like these people like work like that.
Also, I feel there were no rules on the internet back then in terms of how you could make. These guys were just like pioneers, right? Like the initial TVF, AIB gang. They were just creating. First time, I think someone's creating for the internet, and they were just making their own. What do you say? The audience is not guiding them. The industry is not guiding them. The algorithm is not guiding anyone. It was just like pure play creativity coming out. And it genuinely looked like people were having fun.
I remember once we were editing something and AIB का बस video आया ही था the acapella one. Beautiful video जहाँ पे वो बोले मेरे lips I love Uncle Chips and we were all watching it and I used to observe like is there jealousy but like it was a very healthy jealousy that they had with AIB, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Very healthy.
Yeah.
It wasn't like bitter.
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, like, we would like, at office, nobody was like, hey, like, look at what, like, it's nothing like the Stallone Schwarzenegger rivalry or anything. But I think it was a lot of healthy respect, right? Like, we would like look at their videos and really be like, oh, this is the yardstick, like, look at this.
And the yardstick change hua tha when AIB made the Alia Bhatt video.
Yeah, that was.
Oh my God, dude. Shakun directed it, right?
Yeah, Shakun directed that video.
That is such a polished video, dude. Who wrote it?
I think it is Tanmay, Rohan, Shakya, Kamba, the gang. I think they, and maybe like Karnesh Talwar or Abish.
Karnesh Talwar used to write for AIB?
Yeah. He's written a lot of videos in the initial years. I think, so AIB launched a lot of, a lot of directors.
In a way.
Yeah, a lot of directors kind of showcase their work at AIB.
There was
like,
Adhiraj Bose.
There was Adhiraj, then there is Vasan Bala.
Which videos?
Irfan video, party song was Vasan Bala. Then I think there was Shlok Sharma also. Obviously Devanshu, he directed a bunch of sketches. Then recently, I was just hearing from Tanmay, I think there's a song about a penis in this sketch called Man's Best Friend, which Shlok I think directed. That was Ankur Tiwari created the song. Ooh. And On Air with AIB, the title track was done by Nazy.
Tell me one thing, since you have been around like Tanmay so closely, like is this an intentional thing that you don't come on screen that often, or like have you consciously decided to?
Not really, because see, the thing is, the most of the time medium of communication is Hindi, right? Like, so, and I'm not so comfortable speaking in Hindi. So there's that, and I quite enjoy actually writing.
But do you see yourself in one of the Tanmay Reacts videos? I don't know if you have already been there.
No, I can never be that funny, what do you say, in an instant. Yeah, that's definitely not going to happen. Like what like Vishal and all these guys do is just not not my scene at all. Like, for example, Vishal, been working with him for many years. Like, yeah, he's just so instantaneously funny, right? Like, he just says shit and you're like rolling on the floor laughing.
And when you're like doing streaming and stuff, you have to kind of exaggerate things a little also.
Yeah, and you have to be on all the time, which is insane. I don't know how people do that.
There was this one clip of Tanmay where he was telling everyone ki you will have to laugh very loudly and stuff. Like, even if the joke is mediocre, let's just laugh properly. And I think it's very important because that's what the brand is and that's what you have to do. But do you watch Tanmay Reacts?
See, these days I have a rule, okay? I don't want to watch anything that like people I'm working with are doing because I'm anyway working with them, right? Like, it just becomes too much. So I mean, obviously when it pops up once and now and then I just watch a few episodes, but I don't like follow it. Because I'm seeing Tanmay in the same setting in a Zoom call 1 minute later.
In the creator economy, like we have spoken about it a lot in person and WhatsApp. The dystopic side of it, like sure there is algorithm and stuff, but the people who vlog, the things they vlog, like what are the things that like make you feel worried about like us as creators in general? I remember we once spoke about like people who kind of showcase all of their lives.
Yeah. I think that really, like, what do you say, like, that's really scary, don't you think? That,
very scary.
you know, just putting your whole life out into the market, the pressure it will put on your life back, right? Like, if you are showcasing everything that you have and everything that you own and all the families that you have, it just like, I don't know, I find it very scary. And also the fact is, especially when you're involving kids or you're involving, you know, a lot of like, I mean, I don't want to sound preachy. See, I'm a dad and I am so careful about.
I know you have very strict rules for the phone usage also for your kid.
Yeah, phone usage is another thing, but I don't even like generally, I've never put up a photo of his on the internet ever.
Because it's very private.
It's extremely private. And for me, the like, okay, so here is what I feel I'm most scared of, all right? What I'm most scared of is that, you know, I put up a picture and it gets 1,000 likes. And I like that feeling of getting 1,000 likes, right? Because it's the easiest way to net likes, right? And then what could happen is that I might start looking for moments in my real life where instead of truly enjoying that moment, I might be like, oh man, this is...
Arey, tu fail ho gaya. Ruk.
This is like, why can you do that one more time? Right? Like, so you start looking at everything from a content lens. And that I think is almost a drug, dude. Like, it's a drug. It's like, because literally a drug.
There's this term for it, na, the moms who kind of make these videos of their kids. Like, I don't know the particular label for it. Yeah, so many mothers are using their kid as like, okay, we run their account and like they are making the videos. I think it's one of the most dystopic things I've seen. Like,
God knows who's got access to it, dude. Like, there could be pedophiles who are watching them, and like, you know, it can get quite dark also, right? Like, if you're putting out so much content, and mostly, dude, like, would you be okay 20 years later if you look at your photos and you had no...
You never gave consent.
Yeah, and then it's all uploaded on the internet. I would have a problem with my parents if I grew up now and I looked at all my photos from when I'm like right from age 2 to age 14 being out there in the public domain, people commenting, liking it and all that.
What do you think of people who do it with their pets?
I think pets are fine, dude. Like, I'm so sorry, but I also get very irritated when people say like, "Hey, this is my kid," and then I see a dog, right? Like, I think pets are fine. Pets anyway. Having a pet is, it's a very controversial point of view I've had about pets. Okay, it's that you are not an animal lover. You have just trained an animal to love you.
Dude.
This is... It is that. You are like nothing but a fucking North Korean dictator, right? Like, you have not allowed your animal outside the house. to go find its own feelings and find its own true love. You have programmed it to like sort of using food as a weapon, which is what they do in North Korea as well, right? Like using food, cutting supply. You have programmed it to shake hands, all right? You have programmed your dog to do another 100 things just by being like, it's like God complex playing out in its most, it's like low barrier way. And the animal doesn't really love you. Like, you walk into the house, it comes and jumps on you. It's just coming to you because it needs food. Like, it's like how you, like it's Stockholm syndrome, right? Playing out. So I don't think you are an animal lover. It's just that you program the animal to love you, and that is like, you can't equate that. Firstly, that is in itself a whole debate, and then you can't equate that to having a kid, right? And being like, hey, this is like, I'm a cat mom or I'm a cat dad. I'm so sorry, but it just doesn't move me.
When is the carousel post for this particular thing?
Oh, dude, I've written about this actually, and I got so panned.
This has been out?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I haven't seen
many
it.
years ago. And this is one of the posts I've gotten maximum trolled at. Like, it's worse. Like, what happens is most of the times, like left liberal hate, okay, on the internet is way crazier. When you trigger left liberals,
As Anurag Kashyap calls them, intellectual terrorists.
yeah, they just come after you with like theories and thoughts and this and that, and then they try and cancel you for every other thing. So yeah, I mean, I put this out a while ago.
What
and
did people say? Like, what was the emotion?
that was the best part. I'm like, okay, like, disprove this post point by point and tell me where I'm wrong. And nobody could do that except call me like, like you don't have a heart, and like nobody hugged you, and like your parents didn't love you, like just 1,000 things. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how we ended up here, but like,
Now that we are here, let's stay here.
I have no much respect for people who have pets.
Crazy. Yeah.
What about adopted children?
So again, like, see, children are totally fine. Like, I'm talking about pets here, right? Like, so pets is an issue. Adoption, yeah, man, for sure. It's a personal choice. Like, even having a pet is a personal choice, I feel. Like, this is completely okay. But like, just showcasing that as animal love is what I have a
Okay,
problem
that
with.
is.
Yeah, I will have a pet. Like, I will have a pet, but I will have a pet because I want the dopamine rush. I want such a low effort of love where I walk in and someone comes and hugs me, right? Like, I want that, right? And that's the reason why I'll have a pet. But I will not call myself an animal lover.
Now that you say it, because I also have a pet, like, I think I love, like, the pet, like, her name is Dobby, but I don't think I'm an animal lover. This I agree with. Because I don't have this unconditional love for other dogs.
Yeah. Like, I was with a friend the other day and he was like, hey, he was a cat lover, and he's like, hey, I got to get my cat neutered. I'm like, why? You love your cat? Like, what is the thing? Like, no, like, like, if she's in heat, she's a little crazy, and then like, if she like, gets impregnated, then I have to worry about the kittens. And I'm like, hey, look, dude, you have a problem, not the cat, and then you're neutering the cat. So like, where is animal love in this whole situation out here, right? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, if you really love the animal, or if you really love anyone,
this is
you
very
have
true.
to love that. You have to love every aspect of that person.
Neutering is a kind of a very selfish thing.
Yeah, you're just neutering because you can't deal with a cat in heat. Like, so how are you an animal lover exactly right now?
Yeah, this is a bang on point. Yeah, there is a term for like females also. They don't get neutered, they get dash. I don't know, because my pet is a female.
Okay.
So there is a term for that, like a spade.
yeah,
Yeah. So we have been considering. We haven't gotten that done yet, and my mother has said, "I'll take that decision." The whole world has been saying, "Do it."
Correct.
And she's like, "Let me think." So I was like, why are we not doing it? Like, people make a big deal out of it. Now I kind of get that point also. She's like, this is going to be my decision. Maybe I want those, like her to give birth, because that's also a very beautiful moment, dude. Like, if you really love a animal, like, what problem do you have with that?
You're a cat mom, but you don't want to be a cat grandmom.
Have you seen anyone own a very weird pet, like apart from cats and dogs?
I have not seen this person have in this in its presence, but like, I had a colleague who had a snake.
Okay.
Yeah. And he would just, I mean, he would. So apparently, when he turned 18, like his father got a snake from his grandfather. So this is a weird family thing.
Birthday gift.
Yeah. So when he became an adult, his dad came and gave him a snake, saying that, hey, now like you have to take care of.
But I don't want it. You'll have to take it.
Otherwise, it's going to bite you.
What's the life of a shelf life of a snake?
I don't know.
Do you guys have any idea? Like, yeah, कि इतनी generation से pass हो रहा है तो.
No, he gave him a new snake. Oh, it's not the same snake. It is not, the snake is not getting passed on to generation.
Okay.
So it's a family thing that once a kid turns 18, you give that person their own small pet snake, which they have to take care of.
I was just talking to Balraj, like I told you, I recorded an episode with him. There is a Louis C.K. joke that you like Louis C.K.
Yeah,
right?
I love Louis C.K.
I love Louis C.K. too. So he has a joke about like dogs, right? Like, and he's like, people always say, oh, you got that dog. Where did you rescue her from? And he's like, no, I didn't rescue her. I bought her and she's very expensive. So please don't touch her. I love this.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, what will you do now? अब मैंने ये बोल दिया है.
I mean, that's why Louis' comedy is amazing, right? Because it's just plain classic calling out bullshit, right? Like the minute you say the truth in the most brutal way, it is so scary and funny at the same time. That's why Louis is Louis.
Did you see his latest stand-up? Like, I don't know its name, which the Dolby one.
No, I saw the one, like I saw something 1 year ago. I have not seen the one.
So
recently.
there was a joke in it, like, abortions, I don't have problems with abortion. People can have abortions. People can have abortions as long as they eat it.
Yeah.
You can have. I'm like, dude.
Oh man, so Louis.
Yeah. What else? What are you watching currently?
I was watching Arnold.
How is it?
Hey dude, it's crazy. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger, dude. What a life. You have to watch this Bill Burr bit, okay? If this is going on YouTube, just like tag that Bill Burr bit on Arnold, and then you will get insane respect for Arnold firstly. Because like, man, this guy can't speak English, all right? He's just got a big body, lands in, like somehow ends up in America, becomes the biggest movie star, and then becomes a governor. Like, like it's just not even possible, right? Like it's an Austrian guy who can't speak English, dude, like ends up becoming governor and marries a Kennedy.
Like he has three sides to his story: the bodybuilding, the film, and
the politics, and then his whole personal downfall as well, which is fine. Like,
but is it a good documentary?
See, I think what's happening these days is I feel as attention spans are becoming lower, celebrities are not going to sell autobiographies anymore. They're going to sell docuseries to Netflix.
Wow.
Okay, so I think that is what, like if you look at the pattern, and that is what gets you maximum eyeballs, because no one's going to sit and read a big book on your life. No one has the time. So so it follows the beats of an autobiography actually. So and the life is so fascinating and interesting. And also the added benefit here is in an autobiography, what happens is you control the narrative, right? Like, and it's only one person talking. Here you have Sylvester Stallone come in, and you have like James Cameron come in, and like, so you have interviews with probably everyone else in his life. I don't know how, like I'm on the second episode. I don't know how much control he had on this series, in terms of, is it completely like coming from an objective documentary lens point of view, if the filmmaker has any lens, but so far I don't think.
I think like people who make autobiographies on themselves, like, or like be it in a documentary format or a book format, and if they are 40 years or young, I think it's very arrogant. Like when you are like 35 and you are making a whole thing about yourself, it's like very PR centric.
Is that an example?
I think in books I have read like a lot of mediocre autobiographies. But then there was somewhere I saw that like people were 70, 80, 90 years old, and they're like, now we are going to tell everything. Because I think if I'll write a autobiography, I would want to tell everything.
Like, I think the point a famous person should decide to write an autobiography is when they have reached a place in life where there is no consequence for the truth that they're talking. Because if you are in your 30s and 40s, you can never be truthful.
You can't be truthful.
There's no chance. You will be like, I'm going to burn a bridge that might help me later. But if you're writing in your 80s, man, like no one can come and fuck with you now. So you're going to write.
I talk about it a lot on the channel. There's a guy called Ilya Kazan. He has made a streetcar named Desire, and like he discovered Marlon Brando.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Dude, he wrote an autobiography in such a fuck you way, na. Like he called out Marlon Monroe in that. He had a fight with Marlon Brando. in the 5th page of the book, and he's like, I'm thinking if I should tell it or not. Then he's like, fuck it, I'll tell it. He's like, when I was 8 or 11 years old, I got mumps. So do you know of the disease mumps? तब उसका कोई इलाज नहीं था. So the mumps started from like my face and it like went to my testicles. And like everyone got worried in my family. Like what should we do? What should we do? So doctors didn't know what to do. किसी को नहीं पता था. So they had to cut off my ball. So I have lived my whole life on one ball.
Oh wow.
And ये क्या चल रहा है भाई? This is how he starts his like his book. And I'm telling you, dude. And he got cancelled towards the second act of his life. Like he was cancelled. He was given a lifetime achievement award. Oscars ka go and see this video. Martin Scorsese comes and gives this award. Half of the people don't stand up. But like this mum story, na, because I'm like, what the fuck? What am I reading? And then when I read this, and then like there was this part like where I was reading all these autobiographies / biographies. Rishi Kapoor padha, maine Naseeruddin Shah padha. Naseeruddin Shah is still good. He was also being very honest. But आप उतने भी honest नहीं.
Correct, you cannot.
Then I read Karan Johar, Rishi Kapoor. ये सारे ना मैं एक time में पढ़ा. Bro, these are not honest.
You cannot be.
You cannot be honest. तुमने एक कोई chapter, like I think one of the beauties of Karan Johar autobiography is the way he talks about his father's death. So one chapter is honest.
Correct.
Rest, nothing is honest. In Rishi Kapoor, I also felt like he was very honest about how he wants his bloodline to be very pure and stuff. Rest, nothing is honest.
I think like the only reason like I would read an autobiography is just to understand someone's like professional life choices, because everything else I think is not the truth. And I feel like a famous person should really write an autobiography, and it should be in the will when they die it gets published. Like I think only then.
Dude, मेरे को ऐसा कुछ करना है, मतलब like this is, dude, like a totally different and completely off the topic. What's your opinion of Ashnir Grover?
Man, like I always respect anyone who's made wealth in this country. He's a businessman, dude. Like he's made wealth. Obviously, there is a whole like aspect of certain things that are right now being spoken, which is legal, not legal, and illegal, and all those things. I have not gotten into it, but for anyone to come put together a company and like take it to like some crazy levels of success, hats off.
What do you think of his content creation game? Like what he's doing right now. Like he was also in roadies and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
I quite like it, dude. I really like it.
Tell me about it.
I like it because he has realized attention is the economy.
Nice.
Right? Like he's realized that. I feel that he is now looking at the algorithm and trying to fit himself in. Like I see him collaborating with like a lot of Insta influencers.
Yes.
Like you've never seen a mainstream celeb, and he's taking effort.
He's making
It's not like the other like influencers.
Lines से आ रहा है, अच्छा आओ कर लिया.
He's like, properly taking effort, writing the script, rehearsing lines, and all those things. So I think he's just realized attention is the economy, because like your wealth can be taken away from you and everything else can be blocked from you. But like if you have a share of voice on the internet, you can always be relevant. And you can always much later translate the relevance into capital back again.
Hindol and I were just talking about it in auto about one of your posts where all the content creators are playing the business game where they're trying to build businesses, and all the businessmen are playing the social media game.
Correct. So I feel what has happened is, I think it's, for me, that is the like best discovery there is that there is no happiness on either side. Right? Like, because all the, like if you look at all the influencers, man, they're launching their products and they're investing in startups, and they're all trying to make money, or like they're moving all their wealth making opportunities into business, not into their content, right?
But there are not a lot of business opportunities. And
Correct.
Yeah.
So
they will even have to do it.
I mean, see, the thing is, there are content creators who are making money without launching businesses. Right? Like you can like sort of have like branded content.
Yeah. Then you have to be dependent on brands, which might not be that sustainable.
Yeah. That is true. But it has been sustainable so far, right? Like
for like ginne chune creators, like not
Yes.
for like the
Yeah.
masses.
But even for masses, if you can't get a brand deal, there's no way you can launch a product.
Yeah.
Then you have problems in sort of
Yeah.
your content has to be more accessible or whatever. You have to get a larger share of voice. But at least like you said, like the creator side, I still understand why they're going for business. Okay.
Yeah.
But the other side, I mean, they're already famous. I mean, they're already rich. Okay, they've made all their millions. But now suddenly they're like, no, I want to get famous, right? And then there's this argument that says that like, hey, these guys want to get famous because it's easier to push their products, which is a load of crap. All right.
True. It is crap.
Nobody is buying Tata Salt because they know Ratan Tata, right? Like it's so after a point when you have so much money, you can buy the distribution for your product. You don't have to be the face to sell that.
Why do you think they are doing it?
I think it's a hole they're trying to fill, honestly.
FOMO?
Not FOMO, man. Like you want to be rich and famous.
Are they bored?
No, I think rich and famous is sometimes in English language we have phrases which originate because it's the truth, right? Everyone wants to be rich and famous, right? So they all gotten rich. They're like, what is the missing thing over there? It's the fame. So it's like.
So जो novel का concept है be rich and anonymous, that is not a sustainable business model for a lot of founders and like CEOs.
I think the business model is sustainable, but I think it's the human psychology.
You need that dopamine.
Yeah, you want to be famous, right? Like you want recognition from like an average Joe on the road.
And every founder is doing it.
Every founder is like becoming content creator.
Yeah, man, it's so fascinating.
I was just talking to one friend recently, and he's like, "Hey, this founder called me up, and even this founder wants to start up like a series." Right? Like I'm like, dude, like there's already like 20, like now I don't know which founder is in which founder series, right? So it's everyone's in each other's podcasts.
Yeah, man. But like there are some who are like making an impact, right? Like who are doing it differently. Well, and I know like you have also worked on like some of the ads of Shark Tank. Like what do you think of Shark Tank in India in general?
Honestly, I've not followed it as closely as
both the seasons?
Yeah, both the seasons. Last 2 years have been very busy, so I did not. So my problem is like getting invested into something I know that is going to have me hooked. Is going to take so much time away from the things we should be doing. So I'm so careful
about where you give your energy.
Yeah, it's because like it's an addiction, man. It's an addiction problem, right? Like we don't notice it, but like.
So what are some of those things where okay, I'll become an addict, but let me still give it a shot. Like let me still do it.
Succession.
Yeah.
But the latest season is in. I haven't watched it.
The last one.
Yeah, the last season. Though everyone's been talking about it, like it's been difficult. Like I just scroll over those posts.
So you know what happened?
No, I don't know what happened. So
that
I
is
just
great.
like still managed to stay away from it. But I know the day I'm going to press on that play button.
You'll watch all 10 to...
It's going to be 2 days where everything else in life will take a backseat. And it can't, right? Like a TV show cannot have so much control over your life.
Are there things apart from like TV shows and movies where you get invested like that? Like, okay, now I'm hooked to it.
Concepts. Like, it's crazy concepts, man. Like, whatever it is.
I think you really like metaphors and analogies. I mean, in a very good, I'm like giving
Yeah,
a
yeah.
compliment.
Okay,
Like, it's not like something...
Correct.
Because I think behind all great writing, you need to have fundamental understanding of how metaphors work and how analogies work.
I think the truth, man. Simplicity. Like, I think every writing is like honest and simple. But coming back to this, I get addicted to like say concepts like say for example finance. Okay. Then once I'm hooked to that, I'm hooked to that. Like I just go into like a rabbit hole of video content, text content, books and everything. And then it's like a massive journey.
Have you done that with AI?
Not yet. But
Intentionally.
I will. I know I will.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But I use obviously GPT-4 and like Midjourney. I mean, I know all the basic stuff and I work and I use it, but I've not yet gotten crazy into it. And I think I will. So it's basically you go into these rabbit holes, right? Of so many things. Like I have a friend who's got into this rabbit hole of coffee making. All right, and like now he spends I don't know like lakhs with coffee equipment on a daily basis. Yeah, he's got like some just like something that like just measures that is about 15,000 rupees. So he's making his own water. because like the water that you get normally when you sort of brew coffee, it's not good. So he makes distills his own water. So there's a whole distillation kit. So yeah, like, you get into these rabbit holes of certain concepts. Yeah, other than TV shows, that's what happens.
But do you essay in general get hooked to reels? Ki, okay, you start scrolling and you can't stop.
Unfortunately, yeah.
They got us all.
Yeah, they got us all, man. They got all of us. I mean, I mean, I think it's only after that I realized, like, you can still be a doctor and have diabetes. Like, you're a doctor. You've studied everything, all right? You know everything that's bad for your body. You know everything that you should do that doesn't work properly for your body, but you end up smoking, drinking, and having sweets, right? It's more than just like being conscious or knowledgeable about something. It's just one of those things, and that just also shows you how dangerous these things are, right? Like, it's not regulated, and it's just so scary, man. Like, these are the things that like really worry me, about like especially being a father.
Yeah.
Like, at what age do you give your son access to the internet?
What have you thought about it? When do you want to give it?
I just want to avoid it so much that
How old is your?
he's 3.5. Yeah, so I think
By what age, like, do the kids in general get, like?
I think now 12, 13 they get a phone.
Okay, and by what age do they get like access to watch like those YouTube channels, the kid YouTube channels?
I think that happens right from month 5 or 6, 10th month. But I mean, we've like highly regulated everything. I don't think he's got screen time at all. I think my credit to my wife, actually, like, who like, I think what we've ensured is that just keep him so busy through the day, right? Like, just some 3 classes here, there, and just give him, like, just make him like have no energy at the end of the day, that he just sleeps. But I think what is going to happen in the future is, I think anyone who like, everyone's attention spans are getting screwed.
And it's never going to get better.
Yeah, it's never going to get better.
It's just like a downhill, and like.
Yeah. So anyone, I think, who can focus in the future is going to win. Like, you don't even have to be like an engineer. You don't have to be like highly educated. I think like, in 20 years into the future, if there's a 25-year-old who can just focus and do one task and see that task through without getting bored, and I think they're going to win. So it's not even AI or whatever shit.
Yeah.
It's just, focusing on basic shit.
There's this Andrew Huberman video on like focusing, like a 15-minute video where he talks about this, how you can like better your focus. Like, because I think about it a lot. When was the last time I was in bed and I was just looking at the roof above me and the wall? Because when I was younger, I used to do it a lot. Upar dekhe ja rahe ho. When you are like in toilet, like you are like reading like that text on shampoo bottle. When was the last time I did it?
It's so hard, man. You're not allowed to get bored these days, right? And the other thing is, like, the other scary thing is just talking to someone in person, right? Like, it is scary because, like, I know, for example, like, you will never be as entertaining as the internet and my phone right now, right? Like, you will never give me like as much entertainment as just going through 10 reels. So how are you going to compete with, like, we're all like, it's just becoming like this whole complete mess, right? Like, how are you going to compete with how are you going to compete with internet connections?
Have you noticed this thing? I've noticed this pattern, like people who are really, really successful. I was watching this video of Irfan also, where he was said he has a very short attention span, like he gets bored very easily. And there are so many successful people jahan maine suna hai ki they get bored very easily. Yeah. So when you meet them and like let's say if you have to impress them, or let's say you're meeting with an officer, like so you have very few seconds where you have to get their attention, right? And like ye universal level pe ab sabke sath ho raha hai, and it's not even about ki there needs to be a power dynamic.
Correct.
That you need to be so big. Like let's say you're a Mark Zuckerberg and I have built a software and I want to tell you about it. In general, it's happening. Let's say if a waiter comes in, right, like, and like if someone is like, do you want to eat anything, and if he's sitting there, और अगर वो वहाँ बैठा होगा, मैं देखूंगा कितने मिनट होंगे जिसके बाद वो फोन देख लेगा.
Correct.
Right, because it's like it's just a matter of seconds or maximum minutes.
Like, even if you're all invited to a dinner with like Barack Obama, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos and DiCaprio, and like this most wealthiest, like powerful, like white men running the world, you will remove your phone and check Instagram.
Yeah.
There is no way you're not going to do that.
True.
But you know what I've been reading, that like basically all these people who like in the valley, in Silicon Valley, who created like social media and like those build this on a daily basis, their kids have no access to social media. Like, because they know like what has been created is quite a monster, so they don't like feed their kids with social media at all.
They are the inventors of drugs, but they need them. Like, khud they are not like consuming that.
Yeah, I feel like years later we will look back on like how we look back at Mad Men. You watched Mad Men, right? We were like, hey, people are just smoking at home. People are smoking in office.
That was the first 3 seasons for me. Like,
Like for example, the mom is smoking dinner table, serving
and drinking.
Yeah, it's like all of them are smoking. I mean, morality aside, like if it's mom smoking or dad smoking, but like the fact is dad is also smoking and having food, mom is smoking, making food. And it just goes to show that time people did not know how bad smoking is.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel that's going to happen. People are going to look back into this generation and be like, oh man, like how are you on the phone, like, with your kids, you're having a meal with your kids, but you're like scrolling Instagram. Like
That's the saddest thing.
yeah, I feel looking back at this generation, if a Mad Men is going to be made in 2020s,
This is the addiction they'll show.
yeah, this is the addiction they'll show, like not able to just, because I think it has, so there's nobody's regulated it or anything.
There was a very good post about this, like the drinking and the smoking which was shown in Mad Men, because I think that was actually what was happening in US then, right? Like the way they encapsulated it, right? Like my last season is still left, by the way. I'm on season 6 right now.
Oh wow, you've gone, I've watched I think like 1, 2, 3 seasons, and then I just randomly watched episodes.
I think lately I've also stopped enjoying Black Mirror because of...
I've never watched Black Mirror.
Oh, I think you should watch Black Mirror. Like at least a few episodes, because like you being so much into this thing.
Into Doomsday.
We were talking about Gulshan also. Gulshan, the podcast I did with Gulshan, like he said this very interesting line that I think about a lot. Nothing to do with our conversation, that we are too quick to ring the doomsday bell. Something कुछ भी होता नहीं बस खत्म सब खत्म.
And I was reading this book, which is book, I think, was it in Taleb's book or was it Psychology of Money, where like bad news, right? Bad financial news always travels faster, because you will never say everything is normal today. Can't be a headline, right? Markets didn't move today. Everything is normal. Yeah, tomorrow maybe like 1% will go up. Like those will never make for headlines. The headlines will only be like, there is a chance next year will be a bear run, right? You need a headline like that for news to travel fast. So no one talks about, so if everything is normal and there's a big possibility it is going to stay normal for 10 more years, it's boring conversation. But if the world is going to end 20 years later, that at least gets a polarizing opinion, and that will travel more.
That excites us also.
Correct.
At some level.
So that's why Doomsday,
That's why all the news channels are red, like everything red. Yeah. There is breaking news, but the colors also they are choosing. Yeah. This is just all going to end.
Sometimes they're funny as ever. I'm like, you're making up the news and then you're saying that is breaking news. Like, it's that is the crazy part also.
Yeah, man. Like, and I think every 10 years there is 1 year जहाँ पे दुनिया खत्म होने वाली है.
Correct. Yeah.
अभी भी कुछ चल रहा है 2829 में होने वाला है. There is नहीं genuinely. इस बार तो
when the pandemic set in, I'm sure all of those guys were like, hey, finally I told you. I mean, like.
Yeah, man, scary. And like, recommend us something that you're reading right now, and you would.
I read like Dave Grohl's Autobiography. He's the he's the lead singer of Foo Fighters and drummer of Nirvana. I really love the guy because he's a brilliant writer. All right. And he's a self-taught drummer, and he was basically a drummer of like the world's best band at that time. And then he's a self-taught guitarist and singer. So, and then he led Foo Fighters, which is one of my favorite bands. And he's such an unassuming guy. Like, it's like his autobiography is mostly like just stories of him meeting famous people and how his mind was blown. He also started writing on Instagram called, the page is called, I think, Dave's True Tales or something like that. Just look it up. So it's a really nice Instagram carousel post on him playing in the Super Bowl and how he met like Prince, for example. So I read that, it's really good. I read this book which had been on my list for a really long time called Gachar Gochar. It is a book about, it's nothing, it's a beautiful story set in Bangalore. And I hadn't read a Bangalore book in a really long time. So that was really good. Another Bangalore book I really love is this book called My Days in the Bangalore Underworld. Fascinating guy. His name is Agni Sridhar. He's a YouTuber also. He was basically a law student in Bangalore in the 70s, I think. And then a brilliant law student, a very well-read young kid, came to Bangalore and then somehow, through some college politics, got into the underworld. And he ruled the Bangalore underworld and was at the top. And then he gave it all up, became like a yoga practitioner and a screenplay writer. Okay, wrote his movie with Girish Karnad called Adinagalu, I think that's what it's called. Big hit. And then he wrote a book on his life and won the Sahitya Academy for Literature, for reflective writing or something like that. And today is a content creator on YouTube. This is a crazy journey. So My Days in the Bangalore Underworld is a book. I think it's a fascinating book.
And what are the podcasts you are currently listening to?
Podcasts, I think sometimes I listen to the All In podcast, Chalchitra podcast. I really like Gulshan's episode.
Do you follow Lex Friedman?
These podcasts are really long.
Do you know the Balaji one?
Yeah, it's some 8 hours or something, right? Yeah. I listened to 1 hour of it.
I struggled to enjoy them. I don't know why.
The 8-hour podcast?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone would, don't worry. I just think he needs an editor. But yeah, man, like the problem with podcasts is I feel just automatically discouraged because it's 2-3 hours, okay, which is fine. But I always feel nowadays there's an agenda to the podcast, right? It's either someone promoting like something or plugging something, or it's very sanitized by PR. You bring a guest on and like nobody asks the obvious questions, right? Like if someone's done some really dumb shit in their lives, that is my barometer when I watch podcasts. If someone's done some really stupid shit in their life and they're sitting in front of you and you do not ask them about that at all, but you ask them about everything else because you're basically too scared to embarrass your guests, is what most Indian podcasting is. So that for me automatically discourages me from watching it.
Sanitized news channels.
Yes. So I'm like, hey, this is not going to enrich my life. Like I know like you're going to ask basic nice questions and I know they're going to...
वहाँ से reel निकालोगे और
I mean, it's working. It's great. Like I have nothing against you doing it because like, yeah, man, content creator, you have to create content. Like it's your business, right? But I'm sure like there is a massive audience that likes watching it and it's doing good for business. It's great. But like personally for me, I like it when like a guest goes on a show and is completely open and vulnerable and talks about all the things that they may have not spoken about.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah, that's the idea. And that doesn't happen so much.
So you said that they shouldn't have an agenda, right?
Yeah.
But what about the podcast where people are talking senseless things? Like, where do you like?
That is still fine.
Okay.
Like, as long as I feel... See, I know there are these, like, say, for example, Andrew Schulz, right? Like, he's got a podcast going. I don't mind watching it sometimes because it's so, like, random, right? Like, it's just watching a bunch of friends talking shit, like, trash talking. That is completely fine, right? Like, in fact, that's more enjoyable than watching, like, some movie stars interview disguised as a podcast.
True.
Right? Like, for me, that doesn't add any value to me. But here, it's not like adding value, but at least, like, it's just like when, even in Flagrant or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Flagrant.
They're cracking, like, jokes. At least I'm like, hey, that's a crazy thought. Like, that thought didn't even strike me, right? So it's at least an exercise your mind.
In the one they did with Louis C.K., have you seen that?
Oh, yeah. I've seen the one with Louis C.K.
There was this like bit they did on 9/11, all 5 of them, where they're like 9/11. Shouldn't have happened. But boy, what a great job they did. And one of them said it was the Mona Lisa of like terrorist attacks. Yeah. That line, like, no one noticed, but I'm like, what a great line.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, even they're doing to push like the boundaries of free speech, right? And see till where you can move it. These are nice, great thought experiments, man.
Have you seen his episode with Mr. Beast?
I've seen some of the reels.
The death one, have you seen? So he's like, what happens to my channel
Oh yeah.
when I die? The first one to get the last one to get the hand of my grave, like gets to keep the channel.
That was funny, yeah.
Andrew Schultz is also good, yeah. Like he's really
He's good, and he's very Instagram friendly.
very just a nice way to put it.
Good looking guy.
Good looking guy.
Obviously the comedy is also good. Very Insta friendly. Has a great content calendar. All right. Can break up big interviews into entertaining reels. So ticks all those boxes.
So is it a good thing if you know how to break Insta like the podcast into good reels?
I think it is like because
Let's say अगर मैं आज इस एजेंडा से आया होता कि मैं आपसे क्या क्या रील्स निकलवा सकता हूँ, मैंने सोचा नहीं है, but I'm asking. So is it a good thing or a bad thing?
it depends on what you want to do, right? Like I said, like is this because content, like a certain content doesn't appeal to me, doesn't mean a content creator should not do that. So if Instagram is the main bread and butter of the content creator,
True.
then they have every right to do what they have to do to sort of grow their content over there. But I feel like what Schultz does is his reels are intriguing enough for you to go watch the main episode. It's not that I just want this one reel to get viral.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, so it's not just about like I hit like 5 million on this reel, this podcast is worth it. But I think a lot of these podcasts, like there was this one roundtable that kept going viral on Instagram, okay, with Tom Hanks, I think Robert De Niro.
Is it the Hollywood Reporter one?
Yes, the roundtable one. Yeah, so like that for me was a great example. I'm like, okay, this came in 2-3 times, all right. I'm like, okay, I have to watch this now. So then I went and found it on YouTube. And then I watched the whole thing and I'm like, wow, this is so good. So for me, I think podcasts going viral on reels.
Like multiple clippings of it.
Yeah, multiple clippings of it. Like it's going so viral, you want to go watch the whole thing.
I think this happened with our Gulshan episode.
Oh, is it? Like it's acting as a trailer.
Yeah, the like people were like talking about कि हाँ ये clip में देखा है, clip में देखा है. Multiple people said it, and that's why maybe they ended up on the main video also.
Yeah.
That's also pushing us to do more of the offline stuff. Yeah. Like हो गया Zoom वाला. I'm like now we want to do this.
I think also the Zoom one, what happened after a point I felt is it became so easy to make one that everyone felt that I just need to have a Zoom call and can call it a podcast, right?
Yeah. I have a completely different question. This is something I read in the Tim Ferriss book, Tribe of Mentors. This is something he asks his guests. When was the last time you felt you were wrong about something? Like the question being, artistically speaking, when was the last time you felt, hey, this is what I thought, this is how it works, but you're like, I was wrong.
When was the last time I felt?
That you were wrong about like a perception you had, and like fundamentally you were wrong about something. Oh, I misjudged it.
When was I wrong about? So I've been wrong about a lot of things, but like, you mean like something to do with work also?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just thinking.
Like you are into concepts, right?
Yeah.
Like, so like let's say if you thought of something, this is how it works, and like, oh, maybe it doesn't.
In the beginning of 2019, 2020, I thought that, for example, true crime as a genre in India will not take off. Okay. And then even now, I feel it has not taken off. But I feel I was so wrong about it because it has taken off for so many years. Like, for example, there's Savdhan India, Crime Patrol. They're all true crime, right?
Yeah.
But just because there has not been like a breakout show from India, right? There's not been a Ted Bundy kind of thing from India. My judgment on something like that, for example, was that if true crime has to happen in India, it has to happen in a very American way. Okay. And it's possible that I worked on something and I adapted a very Western approach to that particular genre. Because I was like, this this is the only way it's going to work in India, otherwise it's not going to work in India. And now I'm like, hey, no, it has always worked in India. Just because it was not cut and, like paced in a very Western way. So for me professionally, I think like, if I were to attempt true crime now, I would attempt it in a completely different way.
This is such a great point, and I want to talk about it because when people meet me or like ask for recommendations, there is a very good chance the first recommendation they'll ask for will be a true crime recommendation. And like I saw this reel like where the guy goes into like watching like opening Pornhub and the girl is like, okay, I also need a coping mechanism, and she goes and starts watching a true crime. Like you can see them going into two different rooms, Pornhub and true crime. What's the obsession with true crime? Where does it come from? Like why do people like it? I genuinely don't know the answer. I'm not asking it for the real part of it. I fail to understand.
I think it's because it's happened to relatable people. I think that's as simple as that. It's
Like someone like in our lives who might have.
Yeah, you would be like, hey, a person like this could have been my neighbor, and this whole incident could have happened over here, right? This could have happened to me, but this won't happen in a superhero movie, right? This won't happen in like a love story, right? But in a true crime, it happened.
Right.
And it happened to a normal person, or a normal person behaved in a mad way. So there is, I think, the relatability factor I feel. Like I tried digging into this because I was, I still am trying to like figure out something in that space. And it has to be relatable, okay? And I feel there is also this little vulgar side to us.
I think it's more of that.
Yeah, which is like, somewhere it's like, see, I'll tell you what happened the other day, okay? I was watching this documentary on Hotstar, okay? This I think was some 5 months ago, where it is about this mountain climber.
Free solo.
Yeah. It is exciting.
मैंने पूरी पिक्चर खड़े होके देखी थी. I couldn't sit on the
it's
seat.
very exciting. All right. Now, I watched 45 minutes of it. Now he's climbing, I think, Yellowstone National Park. No, I don't know, whatever it is. He's climbing the biggest...
El Capitan.
He's climbing that biggest thing. He's beginning the climb. Okay. And I had to, like, stop it for the day because I had something to do. And then, like, this thought crossed my mind that, like, hey, I have to do something else. So let me just go on Wikipedia and see what happened. But I'm like, no. It'll spoil the show for me. Okay. So I did not Wikipedia this, okay? And what is the other result of him not being able to climb, him dying?
Stakes are too high.
Yeah, like, so his death, a real person's death of a real incident, I didn't want to spoil it. Like, can you believe how fucked up we've become, right? As a society, it's like quite sad. Like, ideally, I should be like, hey, is this guy okay? Like, like, does he survive?
If he dies, I want to see it happen.
Yeah, if it dies, it has to be a moment for me. It has to be a plot twist for me, right? And then I realized, like, yeah, I'm watching this whole, like, movie for this reason. Is he going to die or not? Is he going to die or not? Is he going to, oh shit, right? But actually, we could have just Wikipedia'd it and then watched it. Does he survive this? Does he conquer this whatever climb, right? But we don't. And that is the same trigger that I think goes off when we watch true crime. It's like really relatable people, really relatable like surroundings, extraordinary things happening, and there is this vulgar side to us that wants to see a twist. Though it should be very sad, right? Like, because it's happening to a real person.
In a way, there is a sexual angle to it also. Like,
if there is a, like, yeah, it can be any angle to it. It can be life and death, dude. Like, this the mountain climber, like, going to die, right? Like, what is the thing? He's going to climb up the mountain or he's going to fall off and die.
by sexual, I mean perverse.
Yeah, it can also be perverse. Yeah.
There is a perverse angle to us not Wikipedia pe going and like seeing it.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think that's a great cocktail for content, right? It's insane cocktail for content. And that's why, like, Savdhan India, all these things are doing so well. And they will continue to do well.
Why do you think CID worked?
I think it's the same reason why, like, it's just such simple 3-act structure stories, man. It's just as basic 3-act as you can get, right? It gets over fast, is not too irritating on your head, you don't get so invested in it.
हाँ मतलब मैं थोड़ा प्री सोशल मीडिया एरा के हिसाब से भी पूछ रहा हूँ कि अब तो ऐसा हो गया कि यू डोंट नीड टू बी, यू आर लुकिंग फॉर शोज वेयर यू कैन बी ऑन योर फोन व्हाइल वाचिंग दिस.
Correct.
लाइक एक नया जॉनर है कि आई माइट बी ईटिंग, आई माइट बी ऑन माय फोन, लाइक इजी, लाइक ऐसे वाइट नॉइज के जैसे चल रहे हैं. But like we had always been into CID. It kept getting renewed and renewed and renewed and renewed. So we were talking about Savdhan India. So I was like very fascinated by why people watch certain things. The whole Saas Bahu thing. What's the why?
See, like 99% of the people are Saas Bahu. Right? Like, and like, so you will find like a massive audience for it.
Yeah. You know, इंडिया कल्चर में मेरे को लगता है एज इंडियंस 2-3 बार साल में डिप आता है. जब एक बार IPL बंद होता है तब एवरीवन इज लाइक व्हाट डू वी डू नाउ. एक बार जब कपिल शर्मा ब्रेक लेता है, लाइक आई हैव सीन इट, लाइक मैं मेरे पेरेंट्स के साथ भी बैठता हूँ ना, अब क्या करें, बिकॉज दे नो अच्छा अभी कपिल खत्म होगा तो इंडियन आइडल आएगा, इंडियन आइडल खत्म होगा तो कौन बनेगा करोड़पति आएगा. तो ईयर राउंड जो टाइमलाइन है, कुछ नहीं है तो वहाँ पे अपना IPL है, फिर शार्क टैंक है. अगर आप इनमें से एक भी हटा दो ना, लाइक अब क्या करें.
करेक्ट.
सो द वे दे हैव लाइक gotten so deep into like our lives, it's crazy. मेरे को लगता है CID भी एक लेवल पे वही रोल प्ले कर रहा था लोगों की लाइफ में, और एनी सास बहू शो. इसलिए they never stop 500 episodes, 1000, because it's like the risk is too high for them to stop, because इतना ज़्यादा ingrain हो गया वो कि अब रोक ही नहीं सकते, नहीं बनाना हमें Succession.
And after a point, if you're so into Tulsi Vrani, you know, like, you've like grown up with her, man. Like, in 6 years of your life, you've grown up with her. Like, how can you just give it up?
And this is technically, in a way, what Marvel is also doing with the multiverse and thing. कि we'll never let the heroes die. कुछ अभी एक पिक्चर आ रही थी ना जिसमें एक मर गया था वुल्वरीन, they are bringing it back. रूल्स ही चेंज कर दिए.
Correct.
They are like Mihir running the shit now. कि मरे हुए को वापस लाओ, क्योंकि बट इनको void नहीं दे सकते.
Yeah. He's coming back with Ryan Reynolds, no? Now?
The Ryan Reynolds one.
Correct, yeah.
Scary.
Yeah.
कि
He
मतलब
died in which movie in the...
Which movie did he die?
Logan, yeah. I mean, I don't watch superhero movies or this one, but I just follow these
But I just know that he's coming back and he had died.
Yeah.
अगर आप ये कर सकते हो ना, then you can break any stakes now.
Correct.
Right? And this is really perverse, scary कि कोई limits ही नहीं है ना आपकी. And this is also why people make season 2s of shows which should have ended with season 1. इतने सारे इंडिया में भी ऐसे हो रहे हैं कि ब्रो तेरी 5 एपिसोड में खत्म थी स्टोरी.
No, but then the IP is built, so you have to encash somewhere, right? Like it's a, like, I think with successive seasons the investment is lesser. Like,
वहाँ पे if creator is good, they can really, like, there are so many shows where season 2 is better than season 1.
For example, I feel like, I mean, I'm not like, if whenever Brahmastra 2 releases, if it is a good movie, right, it is going to be like mega blockbuster, right? And it's because it will be cheaper also for them to produce it and market it, because the marketing is already almost is done. So it's like, if it's a good movie, it's like a guaranteed blockbuster.
And if it is a bad movie,
it's still a guaranteed blockbuster.
It's like that Avatar thing, no? Avatar का जैसे अभी 2029 में आएगी, फिर 2031 में आएगी. The way they
think, then they'll just like spend the GDP of a country on it.
And you know, इसका मेरे को fundamental, so I am a big hater of Avatar 2. I loved Avatar 1, but मेरे को fundamentally लगता है it was never a strong enough IP.
Yeah, I never liked Avatar, like when I watched the first one as well. Like,
And James Cameron decided to spend like 15 to 20 years of his life on it. But किसी ने उसको आके नहीं बोला, सर ना थोड़ा आपका protagonist weak रह गया. And then you just like IP पे ही खेले जा रहे हो.
Correct.
This is very sad, dude. Where people just don't have that discussion, bro, बस कर.
But I feel like maybe his trip in life is technology right now, no? Like, he's building cams, he's like creating, inventing shit.
But he's not that, like, he doesn't care that much about storytelling. This is what I feel. Like, he's technology first, storytelling second.
What is his filmography? Terminator.
Titanic.
Before Terminator was what? Like,
This Hindall will tell.
Before Terminator, I think The Abyss.
Alien भी आई थी फिर.
उसका वो स्टोरी है ना कि एस में उसने डॉलर बना दिया था. So his pitch to the studio guy was कि Alien again very big movie, they don't want to make a sequel, so he just wrote Aliens, S में उसने dollar sign बना दिया. This is his pitch.
Alien was Ridley Scott, Aliens was this, and then Alien 3 was David Fincher.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not blanking out on that. Yeah, Terminator, True Lies, then Titanic. After Titanic was Avatar.
This is his first film after Avatar.
Yeah.
बीच में कुछ भी नहीं है.
कुछ नहीं. He's only working on this. He has given his life to this franchise.
Bro, उसका protagonist weak है. उसको कोई बताओ. I don't care about his main character. I don't care about Pandora.
There was this profile, a very like interesting profile on James Cameron, like about his career and everything. He is more interested in the message, jo like about environment, conserving everything. He wants to inculcate those values. He doesn't care anything about the characters. उसको सिर्फ ये बात पहुंचानी कि भाई environment important है. That's all he's doing.
Crazy.
How one man can give like how many years, dude, for a movie? And
इतना तो Linklater ने भी नहीं किया.
yeah. He's made a whole movie.
But this is great. Like, what else would you like? Anything that like मैंने जो touch upon नहीं किया और जिसके बारे में आप बात करना चाहोगे कि है any interesting concept or anything?
I'm thinking.
I also think Hindal wanted to ask you a few questions. So yeah.
I have one very weird question which I want to ask you. This is like not to be controversial or anything, just ऐसे ही पूछता हूँ. What do you think of OnlyFans?
Oh, good question. I also want to know this now.
Great, man. Like, I think it's like I feel. I mean, I generally feel like most of like the craziest innovation, no, like first happens, like I think in porn, in terms of even like cameras.
Yeah.
What was the I think the porn industry has a lot to do with technology, right? Like
This I didn't know.
yeah, like I think cameras also, I think forgotten, but like if you look it up, like you will see like how like porn has helped in terms of so much tech. But over here, I feel you just removed like the middleman, right? Like with OnlyFans, and people can directly go to their users, and so I think in essence, if you remove the middleman in an industry like the pornography industry, I think there'll be less people forced into getting into it.
Very good point.
Right? Because there is no incentive for the middleman. Like he's going to lose interest, or she's going to lose interest in like forcing someone into this business because they can take a 10% or 20% or whatever percent cut off of them, right? So I feel the money is going directly to the creator. So anything that like goes directly to the creator is always great. So, but also there is this other aspect of it being so easy. Women who are taking the decision to be on it, are they considering and like introspecting enough before they go on it?
Yeah, that's the dark side of it.
And are they going to regret that decision 10 years later, right? And then can you wipe away your past on the internet? It's very difficult. You cannot.
आज ही मैंने मतलब crazy we talk about this. I saw this post on Reddit today. A guy in his suicide note wrote how he was bullied in school because his mother had a OnlyFans account. So like it was a post about that, and crazy.
So the internet is
Very unforgiving also.
It's very unforgiving. It great opportunities, but also people like, and it's not been around long enough. That's the saddest and the craziest part, right? Like none of this has not been around long enough. Like we tend to forget, man, that like Facebook is just like 14, 15 years old. It's not even lived like 50 years where we can form like a behavioral pattern and then be like, okay, this is right, this is wrong, these are the possible outcomes. Like nobody knows what the possible outcome is over here. And I think in these cases, it's just going to come to personal judgment. And not everyone is in like the most sound state of mind to make right personal judgments. That's why you have like laws.
Great. This was amazing, Devaiah. And Is it one of your first long form conversations on the internet?
Yeah, like I think I've not like recorded. It's always been a Zoom thing.
Oh, this is the first in person.
Yeah, I think the first one was the AIB Diwali podcast. Like that was the first video podcast.
And you also did one with KV.
Yeah, but even that wasn't. That was on Zoom.
And it was mostly, I think, about books.
KV was about everything, about like career in general and yeah, about the content and friendships and all that.
What post are you next working on in the carousel post in the concept?
I don't think of it. Like
there is definitely thought to it. Too.
So no. So here's how it goes. Okay, like I'll have some thought that is running in the back of my mind, and I'll be like, hey, okay, this is an interesting thought experiment to have, and then one day, like if I'm free, then I will take like 15-20 minutes, and then just put it down and then upload it.
Sorry to cut you. Hindal and I were discussing a post of yours which he likes, and that is interestingly one of the posts that I am like okay with, the influencer funeral.
Oh yeah.
I found it to be decent because like it उसका शायद premise ये था ना कि would like how many people would come to an
influencer's funeral. Yeah.
But like, is this the right metric to kind of gauge the clout of a person? कि अगर कोई real life में मरता है, चलो अमिताभ बच्चन के आएंगे, रजनीकांत के में आएंगे, but उसके अलावा like, are you judged on the basis of how many people came to your funeral?
I think in the business where you are dealing with fans, right? There has to be. I felt when I was thinking about it, that could be one metric to measure. See, so the basic thing was like I wanted to like it was a thought experiment for me. What is the difference between movie star fans and internet star fans? Okay, like in people who are famous on the internet, what is the difference between their fans? And then when I like I've written in the post, I started thinking about it. Okay, like an Amitabh Bachchan or a Shah Rukh Khan, like say pre-internet, like say if they're not on Instagram, they will max have just 200 people come up to them on a daily basis and say you are the best. Okay, because that's what's allowed. Like here going there, like the security outside the house. They will see maybe about 100 people. Okay, on a daily basis if you average it out. I'm not talking about when he goes on the streets, but on a daily basis, 100 people tell him he's the best. But like when any content creator like posts something, they get like some 100,000 likes, 2,000 comments, and their DMs have 500 like replies on the story. So numerically, this is a large number, right? But I'm like, okay, how much of that is going to, how much of that is real, right? What is the real number here? Like, are these guys more famous than like movie stars? But what is the difference in terms of fame for me? And then when I sort of started thinking about it, I felt that the internet is such a low barrier to profess love to someone that you might not love that person so much, but you'll just do it. But whereas a movie star, dude, imagine like, hey, we've all grown up, we've seen a celeb pass by or in the vicinity. We have thought like for 1 hour, should I go say hi to that person? Like, or like, it's a stage fright moment, dude. Like going to a random person and saying like, hey, I'm a big fan. Can I get a picture? What if he says no? What if she's in a bad mood? What if she, what if I'm disturbing her, right? Like, so, and despite of all that, and then I go tell them that, it means like, so that 100 people are coming to Amitabh Bachchan and telling that like, sir, I love you, is 100 out of 10,000 people who've seen him that day, right? So that barrier of love, like that barrier of entry to coming and showcasing and showering the love is so high that builds like a cult-like connection. So the only way in my head was like, if there is a funeral, like how many people are going to show up?
मेरे को ये लगता है कि जो कुछ लोग हैं जहाँ पे maybe like let's not talk about funerals, क्योंकि dark हो जाएगा. But like let's say the Bhuvan Bams and the Zakir Khans, they have legit following.
100%.
Legit.
Yeah, I'm obviously like discounting like when I say influencers.
So you're not counting them.
Yeah, like obviously there are some extremes, right?
So अब इनकी बात
99% are not like.
Okay, so you're talking about that.
Yeah, I'm talking about the 99%. Obviously, there's extremes in both places, right?
But मेरे को ये लगता है कि ऐसे इन्फ्लुएंसर्स के में तो आएंगे लोग.
100%.
हाँ.
But there are people who actually, if you look at their page, right, they have more numbers than like a Bollywood star. But I don't think it would amount to anything.
नो इट्स जैसे मैं आपको बताऊं इसका अगर आप एक दूसरा एग्जांपल देखो, जब कोई ऐड करता है, लेट्स से कि इफ लाइक बोथ शाहरुख खान एंड सचिन तेंदुलकर हैव 10 million फॉलोअर्स, बट व्हेन सचिन कम्स टू डू एन एड एंड इफ ही डज अ ल्यूमिनस इन्वर्टर का एड, आप समझ रहे हो, मतलब वो एड्स भी फिर वैसे उस लेवल के नहीं करते हैं. मतलब द इट्स आल्सो वेरी प्रोफेशन बेस्ड थिंग कि आपके वो जो 10 million लोग हैं, लाइक हाउ डू दे रिलेट टू यू, आपके साथ किस कैपेसिटी में वो रिश्ता है. जैसे मेरे को लगता है अभी रिसेंटली एक गॉड वाला जो पूरा मिल रहा है, लाइक रिस्पेक्ट मिल रही है, वो धोनी को मिल रही है. 5 years back it wasn't like
Yeah.
I think every year Dhoni is playing IPL now. It's getting better and better for
Correct.
him.
Yeah.
होता है ना, लोग छोड़ देते हैं कि नहीं we want a good exit and stuff. It's getting opposite for him.
But also, I think that is to do with the fact that as there been another Indian captain or any captain to have won as much as he has, like an ICC tournament.
Even IPL also.
Yeah, even IPL, World Cup, T20 World Cup, 50 over World Cup, or like the IPL.
I think I have started respecting Dhoni more in last 1 year. I held a lot of things against him because we lost one World Cup because of him.
2015?
I think yes. No. This was after that because I was in Bombay. Yeah. I remember that, like, and he was not able to hit runs.
Oh yeah, the semi-finals.
The semi-finals, where Saurav Ganguly is doing commentary, is like, I cannot explain this, what he did. That time I was like, okay, he has like forgotten how to play it, and then like he'll take the strike and not give it to the other person. But now I'm getting what like this fandom, superhero fandom is, the superstar fandom. Dude, Jio पे on an average concurrent viewers होते हैं 1.2 CR on an average. मैंने बहुत ढंग से स्टडी किया. जब हॉटस्टार पे था concurrent viewers होते थे 45 lakhs. CSK का मैच होता था 55 lakhs. जियो पे होता है 1.2 CR. जैसे ही 4 आउट होते हैं 1.4 होने लग जाता है, 1.5. धोनी बैट करने आता है, it's 2.2 CR.
Wow.
1 CR increase. आप समझ रहे हो, like.
And also, there was this new reel, no, that I was seeing, like him stumping. Have you seen that stumping thing? That's insane.
Crazy fast. The fast.
Yeah, like, it's like, and Harsha Bhogle is like, I don't think that can be even measured. Like, it's like, it's just too good, dude. Like, at like 41 or something like that, it's insane.
Have there been like players like in any sport is जो 40 plus में से खेलते हैं?
I think Zlatan in football, like he was there, and then I think Tom Brady in whatever they call it, their throwing ball thing. But Dhoni is also like, I think there's one interesting story I have of Dhoni. I mean, usually I don't like, saying any celeb stories or whatever from advertising sets. But this, I think, is a very warm story. It was 2013. It was, we were shooting for a brand. Dhoni he was in the ad. So, what happened? We were going to the shoot, okay, and then the driver in our car, and he realized it's a MS Dhoni shoot as we were approaching. So like we asked him like, hey, so you like Dhoni? He's like, like he's from Jharkhand. Okay, so the driver said, I'm from Jharkhand. So he's like obviously big fan. So what happened? We were like, okay, fine, and we started shooting. And in the middle, like, see, Dhoni doesn't talk to too many people. Like, he's a very friendly guy. Like, you speak to him, he speaks to you very nicely. And in the middle, what happened? This person who I was with, he said, like, hey, let me just call the driver. Okay, like, it's just nice, to give him like a crazy life moment ever, right? Like, it's a story for his generations. So I just called him. And then he came and he's like, hey, this is, we told Dhoni that, like, hey, our driver, he's from Jharkhand, he's here. Just looks at him, he's like, hi. And I was like, that guy just froze, all right? The driver just froze. And then, dude, I've not seen this, but Dhoni legit spoke to this guy for, I think, 20 minutes.
What are you saying?
Okay. Through the shoot, I did not see him speak to anyone else for that long. Okay. And he spoke to him for 20 minutes. He asked him where his house was, and he was exchanging childhood stories. It's like, one of us meeting someone, like if I met someone from Bangalore, okay, I'm like, oh dude, like you've seen that road. I was like, oh, I was on this road. Like I've never seen, like, dude, he spoke to him for some 20-25 minutes. Okay, like I don't think he spoke to any of us for that long. And then he called his manager and he said, like, he's like, what car do you drive? He's like, I drive an Innova, like whatever. So like, hey, just take down his number. Next time, whatever, whenever I'm here, will you drive me around? He's like, oh. He's like, yeah, obviously I drive you around. Yeah, Dhoni. And then and it wasn't, there were no cameras around, okay. This was 2012 or 2013. So there's no chance this story will end up in reels or like, that it might now.
ये 1 million view वाली reel है यार.
But like there was no incentive. So he was not playing to the cameras. He was not playing to any gallery. He was not like doing any, there was nothing publicity. There's no BTS camera rolling when he's talking. But legit, he had a conversation with this guy for the longest time. So he's naturally, I think he's like a sweet guy, man. And like, I think goodness will like eventually like, I'm sure like you met people and like you met celebrities and you've heard that they're really nice people. It's very rare that they actually turn out to be asshole, right? Like they are, like if they're really loved, for their simplicity, and when you meet them in person, they will actually be like really, like, because you can't fake it for 20 years or whatever the time you are, right? It will come out at some point if you're a moron.
This is beautiful. Thanks for the 1 million view reel. ये तो बहुत ही प्यारी story है यार. And I'm glad like we spoke about Dhoni यार. Like I don't know, one of the last endangered species, one of the last few superstars.
I mean, I think there will always be superstars in cricket, but like he's going to be a legend, man. Like he's a legend, but who's going to lead India to a T20 World Cup, 50 over World Cup, an ICC Champions Trophy, and like how many IPLs? I've lost count of the number of IPLs.
Man, it's crazy how many IPLs. It's 6, 7, 8 like.
So you can always say like you can account a lot of things to, hey, he was in a good team, right? Hey, he was the opponents at that time were not so happening. But to have done it like with so many teams, right? Like IPL is literally like every 2 years it's a refresh.
It's a refresh.
Yeah, like and then you just get a bunch of people together and go and again win or reach the finals.
They got like Ben Stokes for some 16 crores or something. He didn't play a single match this season.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like, there's a lot of narrative, around that, like, hey, he is, what do you say, like, it is, like, he's great because the team was great. I mean, he's great because he's great, dude. Like, he's done it across, like...
No, yeah. I was a Dhoni skeptic, like, few years back. Now I'm not. Ab main bhi.
Would have been interesting to see, like, how, like, a Steve Waugh would have been in the IPL, right? Because, like, see, that was a fucking dominating team, dude. Like, it had, like, everyone was a champion. Yes. Now, can he lead, like, a normal franchisee to, like, 5 titles across, like, 15 years or whatever, how many ever titles Dhoni's won in the IPL? Like, I'm not sure. Like, we'll never know. Yeah. But a lot of unlikely leaders get thrown up in the IPL. Like Pandya, for example. Like, he's a good leader. Last time he won the IPL, this year they came to the finals, right?
Shane
Warne, man. Like, who would have thought? His autobiography, really good. Really good. What's it called? No Spin?
I watched the documentary they made on him. I struggled with it a little.
Oh, okay. No Spin is so good. He's talked about having a threesome, dude. Like,
seriously?
Like, it's like how like, so when I read that, I'm like, yeah, man, this guy is like no filters. So that's why I really enjoyed it. It's not like some full PR cleansing and all that. So he's talked about literally everything.
In that documentary, I saw this thing ki before bowling the ball, he'll just keep saying a lot of things and not like ऐसे वो heckle वगैरह नहीं करेगा. He'll be like, this is where I'm going to throw the ball. पहले ही बता देगा. It'll like, fuck the batsman. Now is he going to do that or not? And with every ball, he used to do that. Wow. This is how he also made runs. वो आपके साथ मतलब 20 chess खेल रहा है.
Yeah, it's a total mind games. Like him winning that IPL was also so crazy.
And I'm a big Rajasthan Royals fan, dude.
So that IPL was also that. I think for me, like that IPL and the IPL immediately after that, the one that happened in South Africa, I think, right? The second one. I think those two are my favorite IPLs.
I think lately I'm enjoying IPL. मेरे को लग रहा है the moment Dhoni is not in IPL anymore, like it will be bad for the business. Very bad for the business. Like business, emotions and everything. वो 1 करोड़ concurrent कभी नहीं आने वाले वापस.
I think Rohit Sharma and Virat have that thing, like, I think they can become legends if they get like a few, like one World Cup over here, there.
तब सारे पाप माफ हो जाएंगे. But मुश्किल है वो. I want to recommend a guy to you. I don't know if you know about him, Jaideep Verma.
Yeah, I follow him regularly. What a writer. Yeah. And I don't know how, he's won a cricket encyclopedia, then his writing is also brilliant. And then his speed of analysis is what like kills me. Like, you know, something would have happened and there's like a huge like article he's thought through, written, like it just feels like he's taken like 3 days.
It's a piece of art too.
Yeah, it's very good.
Like Abid in the test match, the the final, Ashwin wasn't there. And the post he wrote about it.
Oh yeah, I read this.
People should get fired for not having Ashwin, starting with like the captain and Rahul Dravid. And the analysis he did. Dude. And all these film critics, the Rahul Desai, Sanul Thakur, everyone is a fan of Jaideep's writing.
Jaideep is a filmmaker, no?
Yeah.
Which movie did he make?
Bavraman. It's a documentary on Sudhir Mishra.
Okay.
It's a very good documentary.
He's also, I think, he's made a documentary on the comedy scene. Was that?
Yeah. That one. Varun Grover and
correct.
all those people are doing that. That was a good documentary. I
remember watching that.
I thought I in the start only talked to you about Jaideep Verma, but then you said you're not that much into cricket. So I thought and that he is one of the reasons I still open Facebook. Does he only write on Facebook?
I mean, I follow him only on Facebook.
So he is the main reason.
Someone should introduce him to Instagram.
आप बताओ carousel post के बारे में.
I'll talk to him. I'll message him.
But this is great. Thank you so much.
Man, thanks so much.
Maza aaya.
Same
I'm
here.
glad we did this. It was long due, like in-person episode with you.
First in-person episode.
Yeah. First in-person episode, then Tanmay reacts. Chalo. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Vaibhav.
Thank you.